Karatees, Mata, Daimon. Coming at you with another car video here in Edo, east side of Houston. Right over there you can see the skyscrapers of downtown Houston. And while I'm waiting for an appointment, this might be a good time to have a little talk. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that we've called animistic materialism. So when you look at the word animism and you consider what experts and anthropologists and such what have written on the subject, come up with basically two models. There's really two models in there. First, it refers to it's sort of a really broad term that they use to refer to what the world was like before paganism, what people believed before paganism. You know, paganism, whatever it was, is integrated enough with modern monotheism that, you know, we can wrap our brains around it. And in many ways, monotheism is just sort of a refinement of paganism. They say that there's one God, but then you break it down and there's also angels and demons and spirits and all kinds of other things going on out there. Well, there's the same thing in paganism. There's all kinds of gods and demigods and demons and spirits and all sorts of things going on out there. And then there'd be one God who they say is the king of them all. So it's not that different, really, structurally. But what was going on before that is a little bit harder. And so they refer to it with this generalized term of animism. And there's two things in it. One is the idea that everything is alive and everything has a spirit. And the other idea is that there is an energizing force. A life force energy in the cosmos. If you're familiar with Star Wars, the idea of the Force is a throwback to animism. And in Christianity, the idea survived as the idea of the Holy Spirit. Or sometimes the concept of grace echoes of this idea of life force energy. And then in paganism, there's just so numerous examples of it. You know, in Hindu is prana, and then in the golden flower in Taoism. Ancient Chinese, there's the idea of qi, the word qi, which can mean breath. It can also mean energy. It's the same with prana. It can be breath. It's also a form of energy. And there's numerous other examples of it, but animism is where this traces back to. On the surface, it can look like these two perspectives on animism are different. The idea that everything has a spirit, rocks have spirits. There's a spirit for the tree. Every tree has a spirit. Everything is animated. Essentially, all of the universe is animated. And our example for that is like the tribal cultures. We talk about Native Americans and Pacific Islanders and the other hunter-gatherer societies. But then this idea of life force energy seems like it's different, because this idea survives really clearly when you get into the idea of ancient esoteric schools. Always seem to have this idea, and that's how it came through in Star Wars. The idea of the Force, the idea of a highly technical civilization utilizes this energy. As very famously written about by author Bulworth Lytton in his book The Coming of the Great Race. And this is where the term vril comes from, which is associated with the Germanic magical societies, Saturnus, Saturni, worked with this idea of the vril. And in his book, he talks about a man who falls down, and it's also based on a hollow earth theory. So the idea is this guy, he accidentally falls down a hole and finds a secret passageway, and it goes down into the center of the earth, and there he finds, it opens up into a whole new world within there, and there's a race of people down there, beings down there, who are highly advanced, they're wise, they're initiated, they have wings and horns like daimons. You could say they're all in touch with their own daimon naturally, and in the center of their world, which would be the center of our universe, at the core of it is a centralized source of energy, or a black sun, which is the source of the vril energy. And this vril energy is what they consume in order to make them enlightened and evolutionarily advanced. And his idea is that once human has discovered this potential, eventually it's going to come out into the real world. And so that's the coming race, is that all of us, humanity, once we connect with that higher source of energy, will be able to evolve to the next level, which we've all been waiting for a while. Behind this idea of life force energy is the idea of vibration. Because vibration is what lies behind energy. And this is one theory of reality, and even in physics, theoretical physics, the idea that vibration is behind everything. And in fact, this is one of Gurdjieff's teachings as well, that vibration also determines density. So the higher frequencies are vibrating, the less dense and the more ethereal it becomes. So very ethereal vibrations that we're familiar with is the vibrations of sound, very, very light, and so they travel very far. And the substance of sound vibrations is transient, more transient, whereas then when vibrations become a little bit slower, they become a little bit denser, and then those are the vibrations behind liquid, and then slower yet, there's the vibrations behind earth and rock and so on. Going back up, less density of vibration. Going back up, water, air. Even less dense than that is what in the sciences they call plasma, which includes fire, light, and perhaps consciousness. Consciousness being a result of the fastest vibratory frequency. Now, the idea of vibrations, or in another sense, sound, being behind all things, also connects us with other ideas, like the idea of, in the beginning there was the Word, which is how the Bible starts out. And this is also an idea that you find in ancient Egyptian literature, that it was a utterance of one of the gods. I can't remember which one. Maybe it was Ta, maybe it was Amun-Ra. I don't know. But that idea is definitely there. That all of creation comes from a word. All of creation comes from vibration. All creation comes from intonation. And this is also why part of the power of magic is believed to lie in the words and the utterances that we create. Another thing you realize from this is, wow, we should be more careful about what we say. Because what you say can change things. The words that are coming out of your mouth are literally, they're vibrations that really go out there, and they affect reality. They affect the world. For the most part, our vibrations that we produce with our voices are only apparently acknowledged by other organic beings, but we know they can have an effect on other things like plants. And then, of course, there's all the stories about the voice being able to affect other things. There's the story of an opera singer being able to break glass with the frequency of her voice. And then Gurdjieff tells the story in Meetings with Remarkable Men about how when he was a child, growing up in the Caucasus Mountains region, that he went to a gathering of different enlightened teachers from different schools, yogis and dervishes and the like, and they would have a contest where they sat at the bottom of a mountain and they would play musical instruments, to try and see who could make the rocks fall. Like one person would play a flute, one would play a horn. There's all kinds of different Indian like horn things, Middle Eastern instruments, with using the voice to try and make the rocks fall from the mountain. This is depicted in the film Meetings with Remarkable Men, if you're interested in checking that out. So the idea of life force, energy, and vibration also takes us back to the idea of everything being in some sense alive. Because if it's the vibrations, or vibrations are what lead eventually, going up a scale, eventually to consciousness, then there may be some truth to the idea that there is life in all other things, because all other things have vibrations. Everything that exists that you can see, animal, vegetable, or mineral, has vibrations at the root of its existence. And so that means that there is in some sense life within them too, but life which moves at a much different speed, frequency than we could really comprehend. And this is also the basis for the idea that the Earth is a organic being. All of the planets are beings. The sun is a being. Stars are all beings. Just like you're a being. Swimming in this grand sea of vibrations and life and varying manifestations of consciousness. And for some reason, a singular sense of awareness has manifested itself right here, right now, in you. So there's a system of yoga called Nada Yoga, which is sometimes called yoga of vibrations, or sometimes called a yoga of sound. And one of the teachings in here is connected with the realization that each and every one of us has within themselves a sound that can be heard. Many people interpret this as a ringing in the ears. Some people feel that it's simply tinnitus and dismiss it. They try to not hear it. They try to look around it. But Nada Yoga encourages us to awaken to that sound, to have attention for that sound, to return our attention to that sound, and to try and hold it, to try and hear it more, to try and listen more attentively to that sound. It doesn't have to be at the expense of the other sounds that are going on in your world. You know, the little sounds of nature, the sounds of the city, the sounds in your home, or wherever you happen to be. You always have your inner nada with you, your inner sound with you. It's always there. It's always available for you to return to it. It's a vibratory frequency, vibrating at a very high rate. The more you cue into it, the more it starts to break down. You may begin to hear more intricate details. It may begin unfolding into a symphony of your inner cosmos.